All right, welcome back to 10 Minute Tuesday. Sorry we have missed these for a few weeks. It's been like a crazy few weeks for us. We've just been on the road a bunch. Did a couple of different trips, and if you guys have listened to the full pod, we've had some rough trips.
Yep. Had a good one, though.
We did. We just had a really good one this past weekend. Thank God.
We needed it.
Bad.
Something still happened, though. Joey will elaborate.
Yeah, Joey will elaborate on the podcast. That'll be next week, though.
Yep.
But yeah, next week you'll hear what happened to Joey on the way home. But yeah, no, it's been good. We've just been super busy. And finally had a decent hunt, and I thought this would be a great time to do a 10-minute Tuesday talking a little bit about hunting the weather that you're presented with. And being aware of the weather, since it seems like we're not very good at checking all the weather every time we go somewhere.
We're really bad at checking the moon.
Yeah.
Back-to-back supermoons.
Yeah. No, the moon cycle is very important, you guys. And every area is different. Let me just get that out right away. So, you know, whenever we put these things out where it's like an educational or like giving some tips about stuff, we'll get 100 messages of people who are like, no, that's not how it works in my area. Listen, man, maybe it's different in your area. Okay. I'm just going to give you what generally occurs for us in the Midwest. If you are hunting a full moon, it might be some tough hunting.
Good luck.
It might be some tough hunting.
Unless you have weather.
Birds are going to get smarter and smarter, right? Constantly. They're adapting, they're changing, they're seeing all the different patterns. They know they're being hunted. Once hunting season starts, the birds obviously know that they're being hunted. And so the reality is, if they can feed by moonlight, why wouldn't they feed by moonlight? It's a smart thing to do. So that's what birds are going to try to do. So you'll see this a lot. Full moon cycle hits, and all of a sudden you're in a field in the afternoon. They've been feeding once a day, only in the afternoon. And you show up and it's the afternoon feed. They come out 5 to 10 minutes before shooting light, and they feed for an hour after sunset.
Yep.
That's what they do all the time.
For sure.
So be aware of your weather. Another big thing, if you're getting snow, you should know that.
And you should hunt it.
I mean, I would think that you should know that already in general. But, you know, you'd be surprised. But yeah, be aware. If you're getting snow, you should definitely hunt that. You should hunt that snow, because birds know when weather is coming, and they will feed hard before they feel like they need to go and hunker down and wait out some kind of storm. So if you're going to get snow, let's say at 3 in the afternoon, I would be in that field early. You know, I don't know that they're going to feed twice that day. I don't know if they're going to feed in the morning and in the afternoon, but get out there, set up, and be ready by lunchtime.
Go chill in the trucks if you need to.
Yeah, set the thing up and then go sit in the truck with a vantage point of when you can see birds coming off the roost or whatever you can do. And just have your binos ready and just watch, and you see birds start getting off their roost or whatever, go get in your blind. Because when there's weather coming like that with snow, birds are going to feed it hard. You know, they want to make sure they get their calories before they can't. And they don't know how long that storm is going to go, but they can feel it coming.
And they're also going to be way more vulnerable.
100%. Especially if you can hunt right at the beginning, so that you're hunting. Birds are going to start feeding before the snow comes, but as the snow hits, they're going to get progressively dumber. And then there will be a cutoff point where they've decided the weather is too bad. They are no longer feeding. They're going back to the roost. They're going to wait this thing out. But that time frame from when the first snow starts flying to the point that they decide they're no longer going to eat anything anymore and they need to go hunker down, that is the most vulnerable those birds are going to be. For sure.
It was pretty cool to see. It started snowing, and then the next minute, flocks in the air everywhere.
Yeah, that's what happened to us this weekend. We knew we were getting snow. We knew we should be out there early. We set up at like noon, like 11:30.
11:30ish.
Yeah, we set up right away and just waited on them. We had a bunch of birds feed like throughout the day a little bit, but it wasn't heavy. And then sure enough, yep, as soon as that snow hit, boom, it's like a light switch just turns on, and the birds are just... They have to eat. They know they have to eat right now, or they're not going to eat for who knows how long, depending on how long that storm goes. So go hunt it, you know, and be aware of the weather.
Bundle up.
Bundle up, yeah.
Layer up with First Light. That saved us.
For sure, dude. For sure, yeah, you have to have good gear, especially in this these temperatures that we're in Minnesota and South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin. If you're in the Midwest, hopefully you have some good first light gear. Get those merino layers because, dude, it's cold. It sucks. This time of year is always just a fight to the finish line to see who can sit out in their blind the longest, I feel like sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, weather's super important. Understanding barometric pressure. And this is why, like we talked about earlier in the year, like maybe keep a journal, you know, like write down what you're noticing, write down the temps, write down the temperature swings, the high and the low for the day, what the high and the low was yesterday, the barometric pressure, the moon cycle, if it's snowy, rainy, sleeting, whatever the heck it is. Like start to write that stuff down and write down how the birds react to it. Because like I said in the beginning of this video, every area can be a little bit different. But knowing what specifically birds have done in the past in your area is going to give you a huge leg up every single week when you're hunting these birds year after year, trying to understand what they might do. Now, all this said, sometimes they do things that you would never expect them to do. You know, like specifically this weekend, we had snow, like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Knew they would feed really hard that day. But because this storm was going to end at like 10 p.m., we saw that the next day the temps were going to go from warm to cold. It was supposed to be slightly overcast in the morning, partly cloudy. And so if I see that, that makes me think they're going to get up and feed again in the morning because they'd probably rather feed right off of that. You know, they had to cut their feed short the night before. They've had to sit all night. Now they have cloudy conditions and 22 degrees. And by that 3 p.m., 4 p.m. feeding time, it's going to be 8 degrees out, windier. Or were we losing wind? I think we were losing wind, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I just think, in my head, that tells me they're probably going to feed in the morning. They did not.
We were wrong.
We were wrong.
Very wrong.
We were wrong. They ended up feeding at the very end of the day. And so you don't know, but I think making a note of that stuff, writing it down, just taking mental notes, like that's just going to make you a better hunter. Another thing, completely separate note from this, early season, you're going to be dealing with sometimes more like really hot weather, right? Like if you know it's going to be really hot in the afternoon, they might only feed the morning. You know, so like the weather plays a huge factor. I'm sure you guys are listening to this and you're like, yeah, duh, dummy. But knowing how your weather actually affects your birds and understanding their patterns, that is going to make you a much more successful hunter. So write it down, take notes, moon cycles, barometric pressure, weather, rain, temperatures, all that stuff plays a huge factor. It's a good thing to be aware of. So that's kind of my thing. Hunt the weather, but be aware of how it's going to affect your hunt.
For sure.
Because it will every time.
Every time.
Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. We'll catch you next week.